Tonight on Wareham Viking News at 5, plans for a new restaurant in Wareham raise some concerns with residents. The school department budget is in good shape this year, reporting no need for layoffs. And COVID looks to be getting better, with the state moving into Phase 3, Step 2, and vaccine centers opening across the South Coast. All this and more coming up at 5 o'clock.
Live from the WCTV studios in Wareham, this is Wareham Viking News.
Wareham Viking News at 5 starts right now.
Hello everyone and welcome to Wareham Viking News, broadcasting live from our WCTV studio. Thank you for being with us today and for your continued support. I'm your host, Arcaro, and remember to join us Wednesdays at 5 p.m., Thursdays at 9 a.m., or on YouTube later tonight for a news broadcast. With that, let's get right into this week's news. A popular Mexican fast food restaurant chain has expressed interest in opening a location here in Wareham. Chipotle, the swiftly growing fast casual restaurant, has submitted plans to occupy a third of the 3 buildings constructed at the development in front of Walmart. The other 2 current tenants are Starbucks and Aspen Dental, with Chipotle vying for the third spot. They plan to build a state-of-the-art Chipotle at the Wareham location, says local Chipotle representative Kathy McBain. The new restaurant will be a 37-seat restaurant with a Chipotle, which is a drive-thru pickup window for those picking up mobile and phone orders. The drive-thru would not be the traditional model with a menu board and speaker system for ordering. Instead, it would only be used by people who have already ordered and paid for their food, she continued on. Wareham residents, however, have raised some concern on social media about the Chipotle, suggesting that with the amount of both sit-down and fast food Mexican restaurants we already have in Wareham, they would rather see other alternatives occupy the location, such as a Chick-fil-A, Panera Bread, or Tropical Smoothie. The zoning board hearing for the new Chipotle restaurant is set to continue on March 8th. And now, ladies and gents, it's time for some really good news. Even though Wareham Public Schools have had a hard time financially this year due to the coronavirus pandemic, on February 28th, the superintendent of schools, Dr. Kimberly Shaverhood, announced that as of right now, Wareham will not have to lay off any staff for the next year. Because we are right now in the FY22 budget, we can safely say there will be no layoffs for any personnel, Dr. Shaverhood said. And that is a wonderful thing to share. I agree with Dr. Shaverhood. It is wonderful news indeed. Dr. Shaverhood even said that it is very possible that some departments will gain additional staff, though she did not explicitly mention which department will be getting new staff members. According to officials, the budget is looking good, and this is the first time in many years where Wareham could rule out possible layoffs in the town. Great job, Wareham. The Gleason Family YMCA has administered over 3,000 first doses of coronavirus vaccine, and then 3 days later, patients were told by their healthcare providers that they can no longer schedule an appointment for their first dose. That was all due to the state's reprioritization of mass vaccination sites. As of right now, it is not clear whether this is because of state policy change or not. However, it is guaranteed that those who got their first vaccine through the South Coast Health will then absolutely get their second dose of the vaccine. Sean Badgley, the South Coast Public Info Officer, confirmed that there will be clinics in Wareham, Fall River, and Dartmouth, and they would be up and running shortly after they closed. We're able to make these new appointments available based on recently received supply, Badgley said. Across our 3 clinics, we'll be able to administer about 4,000 doses for those who are 65 and older, who have 2 or more comorbidities, that have a MyChart account. Keep on the lookout for information that you've been scheduled to book an appointment. For more explicit information, please do not hesitate to go to www.southcoast.org/vaccine and get the information you need in order to sign up. All those who are eligible for the vaccine, please do not hesitate to visit www.mass.gov/COVID-vaccine. Also, in good news with the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor has recently shifted from the state's Phase 3, Step 1 to Phase 3, Step 2, and has announced that they are planning to move to Phase 4 in the near future. State reports say that cases are the lowest that they've been since October, and they cite that for the reason of the move to the next step. As a result of the new step, all capacity limits will be removed. for restaurants. Under Massachusetts statewide guidelines, and live musical performances may resume. Other rules for restaurants such as local distancing, 6 feet apart, a maximum of 6 people at each table, and 90-minute limits on eating times will remain in place. Theaters, concert halls, and other indoor performance venues may open at half capacity for up to 500 people total. Indoor recreational centers with higher potential for contact like laser tag, roller skating, trampoline parks, and obstacle courses may reopen with the same 50% capacity cap. The Bruins also shared an announcement from TD Garden saying fans could return that day at 12% capacity. These are huge steps in the right direction to returning to a new normal in the middle of this global pandemic, and I know I am very excited. Now it's time for us to take a short commercial break, so get yourself some refreshments and make yourself comfortable. Don't go away though. You won't want to miss our next stories. Up next, a Middletown man that is doing something great in honor of Women's History Month. What was his very kind gesture? And students of Wareham High School's IB program are hard at work on their IA research papers. Hear from one of the students who got over 200 responses on her survey for her paper. All this and more coming up after this short break.
Welcome to the morning show.
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 Welcome to the new morning show.
Have a Wareham Viking weekend.
Runner there, Michael Bush, the pitch home. Fastball swung on and missed, and the Gatemen win their 8th title and won for the first time since 2012. The Wareham Gatemen are kings of the Cape Cod Baseball League. A strikeout for Zach Hart, and the Gatemen win it.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Wareham Viking News. I'm your host, Emma Arcaro, and thank you for joining us here tonight on our live news broadcast. Well, one DJ from Middletown has taken some big strides in order to celebrate and honor Women's History Month. The man, Andrew Chevalier, is using his platform as a DJ to collect necessary items for the Fall River Deaconess Women's Shelter during the month of March. Chevalier told that Fun 107 in an interview that this shelter was in particular in a special need for items, as they are a specialty shelter and a children's shelter. He works with several restaurants across the South Coast who have agreed to use their venues to help collect the donations for women in need. Chevalier will be collecting masks, sanitizer, puzzles, and art supplies at all of his gigs in March. Follow Andrew Chevalier on Instagram and go to deaconeshome.org to learn how you can help. They hope that they will inspire all men to step up to the plate and support women. Last episode, we heard from Kat Garofoli, the director of the Onset Bay Center, and the amazing work she is doing in Onset. In fact, the Buzzards Bay Coalition is planning something fun and great coming up this summer and spring. They will be hosting a free family beach playgroup program. The Onset Bay Center is offering Group 4 playgroup sessions in collaboration with the Wareham Coordinated Family and Community Engagement Council. These playgroups will include sensory crafts and activities and will be geared for kids 3 to 5 years old. The playgroup will take place at Onset Beach from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the second Wednesday every month, starting next Wednesday. The planned dates and themes include March 10 with the beach theme, April 14th with the weather and water theme, May 12th with an ocean theme, and June 9th with a hermit crabs and shellfish theme. An RSVP is required as space is limited to 10 families a session. You can visit www.onsetbaycenter.com to register or email Garofoli at savebuzzardsbay.com. Free parking will be available at the Onset Pier. If you have young kids or know someone who does, make sure to let them know about this amazing opportunity put on by the Onset Bay Center. Artist Shays Gomez has been taking months on end to volunteer her time and paint large and bright murals in the Onset BFW. Gomes is a 21-year-old Bridgewater State University student and has been working on this project since the beginning of summer in 2020. She chose to be involved for her personal ties with the VFW, and for those of you who do not know what that means, it's the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Her mother and father are both involved, her father being a direct member himself and her mother sometimes volunteering her time with them. My stepdad is a member and does a lot for the building here, and my mother might help and cook and volunteer at some of the functions that they used to do a lot before COVID-19. Gomes said that her stepfather came to her directly about the project, and she has had many different visions for her murals before she even began painting. They often changed. Originally, she was just going to paint in the bar and do a little something in the hallway, but then everyone loved her murals so much and they added such vivacity to the place that she continued making the murals all over the VFW. Not only that, she seems to really enjoy her work and volunteering her time, and everyone likes to see her work, plus to show it off. She is doing an amazing job and still volunteering when she can. As part of taking the International Baccalaureate or IB class at the high school here in Wareham, students are required to write a paper called an IA. For the IB mathematics class, students must gather and collect data for their paper. One student in the IB math program received over 200 responses on her survey. Our producer, Indiana Troop, sat down with her to discuss her experiences with IB and her research paper. Here's the story.
All right, hi Evelyn. Thank you for joining us today on our show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about the paper you're working on for International Baccalaureate and the project and process of that all. So I have a couple of questions for you. So my first question is about IB as a program. What's your experience been with that program? It's relatively new at Wareham. What's your experience with that program?
Well, at first I was a little hesitant because it was considered top tier at the school. Like, all of the really, really smart kids were in all of these classes, and I was scared that I wouldn't fit in and I wouldn't understand like the process of the class. But as soon as I started taking the class, I fit in perfectly. It's probably one of my favorite classes because of how it works, how the class runs, and the content of everything. And I just really enjoy it.
Great. So my next question for you is, what is this paper that every student has to do, and what's the process of that? Can you go into that?
Yeah, sure. So the IA is a paper that everyone in an IB class has to write. So it's generally, I think, 10 to 12 pages for most. I know it is for mine. Mine's the math one. And we have to take a topic of interest to us and research it and turn it into math, basically. So, I mean, that's just for our class. It's totally different for all of the other ones, but for mine, that's how it went for me. And you would think that it's a lot of work, but it's actually a lot more fun because it's a topic that you get to write about and that you chose.
Great. So another thing I heard was your paper and the research you did for your paper did pretty well. Talk to us about that and what that experience was like, getting those tons of responses that you got and how that made you feel about the whole paper itself.
So at first I was super nervous about picking my topic because I was afraid that I wouldn't get enough information about it and I wouldn't actually enjoy writing about it. So I was texting with my mom actually, and she was like, "You order food all the time." And I was like, "Yeah, I do." So it got me thinking, ever since COVID hit, you can't really go out much and you couldn't then, so everyone would be ordering food online. So I decided to base my topic off of ordering food online, basically. And so I conducted a survey, and I sent it out, and actually I got a lot more responses than I thought I was going to. Almost 250 responses in 2 days, which was huge for me because I was only expecting like 50. So I really enjoyed the support from everyone.
And Evelyn, can you give us a little sneak peek maybe at what those results were looking like?
Well, only time will tell with that one. I don't know if I'm allowed to share yet, but I sure will once I can.
We'll have to make sure some people can see that research paper once that's finished.
I'll send it over once it's done.
Perfect. And your survey, are you still looking for responses on that?
As much as possible. I mean, if more people want to fill it out, I wouldn't be opposed at all.
Yeah, so we'll put that link right at the bottom of your screen. And you can also find that link on our website, www.warehamvikingnews.com. So I think that about sums it up. Thank you very much, Evelyn, for joining us today, talking about your experience with that. Very insightful. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, folks, it's time to take a short break. But, unfortunately, it's time for us to go now. You won't want to go away. We have some exciting news coming up next, so stick around after the break. The school just...
Congratulations, graduates.
Good evening and welcome back to Wareham Viking News, your favorite thing to watch on a Wednesday night. I'm your host, Arcaro, and thank you for joining us on our live news show tonight. We have more to share, so let's not keep you waiting any longer. The food service department at Wareham Public Schools is looking to make a new purchase of a food service van. While the brand new van cost is $45,000, the food service director, Michael Russo, has secured a grant to pay for the amount of van in full. It will be used to help transport foods to different sites. In the summer, we also take food out to different sites, so that would be the purpose of the van, Shaverhood said. She also noted that this new van would ease the process of distributing the free meals across town. Due to the fact that the van is brand new, the purchase needs to be approved by voters at the next town meeting. The school committee voted unanimously to approve the purchase of the van and will send it at a vote to the next town meeting. The article is now slated to be put on a warrant for an upcoming town meeting. Well, we saw some very warm temperatures this week, some very frigid ones, and some crazy winds. I think it's time for our resident new weather woman, Isabella Rose, returning for the second time, to tell us how next week is going to look. Isabella, how's the weather looking?
Thank you, Emma. It's Isabella, and this is your Viking weather report. Today will be sunny with the highs of 46 and lows of 29. Tomorrow will be sunny, highs of 42 and lows of 20. Friday will be partly cloudy with highs of 35 and lows of 20. And now for your Viking trivia. Alfred, the King of Wessex, was famous for burning what?
Bushes.
I didn't even know.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Read it out, Valentine's
Is it A, cake, B, pie, C, chocolate, or D, pizza?
I think it was buffalo
Witches.
chicken.
Witches.
And the answer is A, cake. And now back to you, Emma.
Thank you very much, Isabella. And hello, everyone. Since this is the month of March, it is Women's History Month, and I decided to take a spin on our Word of the Week and turn it into Woman of the Week. I promise to include a diverse range of women and include their accomplishments to the best of my ability. This week's Woman of the Week is Dr. Ellen Ochoa. Ochoa was the first Hispanic woman to go into space on her 9-day mission on the space shuttle, Discovery. Dr. Ochoa earned a bachelor's degree in physics in San Diego State University and a master's in electrical engineering from Stanford University. Ochoa was distinguished with the highest award that NASA can offer, that being the Distinguished Service Medal. She also received the Presidential Distinguished Rank Award for senior executives in federal government. Of course, Ochoa has received many other awards, and, fun fact, she has 6 schools named after her. Attention all girls, grades kindergarten through 8th. Wareham girls softball registrations are now open for the spring 2021 season. The organization said in a statement, "We had a successful summer and fall 2020 season. We will continue to play safely following COVID guidelines. Spring season, including practices, usually runs from the end of March until early June. Registration closes March 5th, 2021, so we can form our teams. They ask that you please reach out with any questions via Facebook or email at warehamsoftball@gmail.com. This is the last week to register before registration closes." Community Youth Empowerment will be holding a workshop for any student interested in careers such as business, nursing, law, firefighting, police, engineering, military, home mortgages, Department of Corrections, and hairstyling. They will have representatives from each of the careers mentioned above to discuss what they do in their field of work. The call will be at 7 p.m. tonight, and the Zoom link can be found on their website, www.warehamcye.com. Well, it's time for us to take a short break. You don't want to go anywhere. Up next, we have a look at the high school's new schedule for students and our weekly sports report. All this and more when we come back.
Hey, do you have Viking pride?
Of course I have Viking pride.
Viking pride? You already know I have that.
Of course I do.
Gotta believe.
Go Wareham.
Go Vikings, bro. Viking pride.
Who doesn't have Viking pride? It's all good.
Yes.
Vikings.
Go Vikings.
Stand up.
Nobody better than a Viking.
Viking pride! Go Vikings!
Go Vikings.
Viking pride. Do you have it?
People in Massachusetts are asking what they can do to help stop the spread of the virus. Our response? Answer the call.
Hello? Thanks for calling. I've been worried.
Thanks. Now I know what to do.
Through what's called contact tracing, the MA COVID team will be reaching out to everyone who's tested positive for coronavirus or who has been exposed. Look out for area codes 833 or 857 and answer the call to keep your community safe. Visit mass.gov/MA Tracing Team.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Wareham Viking News. I'm your host, Emma Arcaro, and I'm very happy that you've decided to join us tonight. We have more to share, so let's get into it. Thank you, Indiana. The world of sports is jam-packed with its new information this week, and of course, our favorite sportscaster, Laura, is here to share it all. Laura, what's new?
Thank you, Emma. This is Laura Clements back with your Wareham Viking News Sports Report. A reminder that Fall 2 sports start March 8th, which is next Monday. Athletes must be registered by March 7th to compete on the team. Sports being played during this season are boys and girls soccer, field hockey, volleyball, track and field, cheerleading, and football. There is no user fee for sports this year. The season will run through early May. The Boston Red Sox have begun their spring training schedule. They opened with a loss to the Twins on Sunday. The final score was 7-6. The Boston Celtics have improved to an 18-17 record. This past week they were 2-2. Their wins came against the Indiana Pacers with a final of 118-112 and the Washington Wizards by a close score of 111-110. Their losses were against the Atlanta Hawks and the Dallas Mavericks. They will play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow at 7 p.m. In the world of hockey, the Boston Bruins lost to the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers this past week. They were able to turn it around this past Sunday against the Rangers, winning by a score of 4-1. The Bruins play the Washington Capitals tonight at 7 p.m. Now back over to you, Emma.
Thank you, Laura. Great job, everyone. But unfortunately, it's time for us to go. To keep up on all current Wareham news throughout the week, visit www.warehamvikingnews.com and like us on Facebook at Wareham Viking News. Make sure to continue in every single Wednesday evening for our live broadcast at 5 p.m., on Thursdays for our rebroadcast at 9 a.m., or on YouTube later tonight, right here on WCTV, for your best source of news, sports, weather, traffic, and more. Thank you for being with us until next time, Wareham. Goodbye. Stay safe.